Welcome to the Mariana Dalto Show, the podcast where we bring your insights on how to elevate your brand and grow your business. I'm your host, Mariana Dalto, and our guest today is Lisa Shorr. Today, I am very thrilled to welcome Lisa to the show. She's a certified image consultant, personal branding specialist, and the founder of Shorr Success. Lisa has transformed the way small businesses and IT companies present themselves with a proven brand method. Welcome, Lisa, to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm excited to talk about all your brand method. This is it's a very important topic for every small business owner. So
absolutely. Oh, I can't wait to share and help transform small business owners who are struggling with their communication skills and connecting with clients. So I can't wait to talk about it.
awesome. All right. But first, I want the audience to learn more about you. So tell us about your background, your journey, what inspired you to become a business owner.
Thank you for asking. So my degree is in marketing, and I always loved branding. And it began with my love affair of just colors and logos and just really getting out and standing out from the competition. So I met my husband about 27 years ago, and he at the time had a fledgling IT business. So I was in Boston, Massachusetts, selling books for Houghton Mifflin and traveling the country, doing trade shows and specializing in the garden market. But my husband at the time had, a very small IT business. He needed help. He needed to grow it. We started dating, and he said, "Oh, you're a marketer. Can you create a brochure for me?" Which then led to, "Hey, can you create a website for me?" Which then led to marriage, as all marketing endeavors do. And so we got married, and we've been married 24 years, but I've been working in his tech business, which is now our tech business, for 25 years.
Amazing.
So it is. So I didn't select in the beginning to be a business owner. My husband, and by proxy of marriage, and then just by the nature of our career paths, it was a perfect fit to do the marketing, help grow the brand. Eventually I was helping with, helping with HR and all the different things that go into business growth. So, and then about in 2012, I started Shorr Success, which is the business that we're also talking about today. So,
and that Shorr Success is branding and image consulting?
That specializes specifically on the small business owner. I help business leaders become better communicators, because really, what do we need? We need to build relationships, trusting relationships with clients, so they become evergreen. They refer us, they renew contracts, but there's a big need in communication skills. And we all focus on, many of us get into our business because of the trade, because of the craft, our technical abilities. We love technology, or we love to paint, or we love designing, whatever that may be. And that's where we hone in. We not really forget about, but it's not as comfortable, I'd say, to focus on the soft skills side of things. And that was definitely my IT business's story in the beginning. So, which then really created Shorr Success.
Amazing. So through your story and working with the IT business, or through the new business that you launched a few years back now, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in the beginning of any of the two businesses that you can share, and then how you overcame those challenges? So then, small business owners who are in that maybe phase in the beginning, trying to figure out, oh, why am I going through this? I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not the only one going through this.
So that's like the $1 million question, and one that, if we choose, and it's a choice, to embrace the uncomfortable and make change, boy, can it be fruitful for your business. And my IT company is a perfect example of that. So I'm going to share a quick story if I can. And I want to, ask the listeners, have you ever been fired from a client? So my IT business was fired from a client of 10 years. So we serviced the IT needs of a car dealership for 10 years. And finally, the icing on the cake. So we had a project, a couple of different projects, and we got called in to meet with the owners. And we thought we were having a business discussion to review the process, the service that we delivered, maybe upcoming projects. We had no idea. The reality is they said, we're hiring a new IT provider. And when we asked, and thankfully they gave us the blessing of an exit interview and a why, and I hope everybody asks those questions. They said, every time I call your office, your team acts as if they have no idea who I am. And so we took a step back and said, our phone skills? Every time you call, like literally that's what they said. And so that was one wake up moment, a transformational moment that said, if we're upsetting this client, let's take some stock and look at some of the other issues we've been having. And we had an issue with an engineer that was brilliant, as most technicians are, but was gruff, was arrogant, wasn't communicating with the client to make them feel, this is a different client now, but to make them feel special. So how did we handle that? So first of all, we cried a little. And then once we got over the ego side of things, because you have to let the ego embrace it, feel it, get through it, so then you can process it. We made a lot of change. And we, first of all, created a process for answering phones. We have a process for triaging calls, not only answering the calls, everyone answers the calls the same way in our company now. We also have a process of qualifying who is calling. Is it a client? Is it a hot lead? We spend a lot of money on marketing, and it costs my MSP, my IT business, MSP stands for Managed Services Provider. It's the type of industry we're in. Over $900 just to get the phone to ring. So every time I screw up a call, that's $900 lost. It was a very expensive mistake, but not to mention we lost this client who, by the way, was expanding to a second dealership. We lost the opportunity to grow that. We lost referral opportunities. We lost other testimonial opportunities, contract renewals. I mean, the value of that was, it was into the 5 figures at this point. Very expensive mistake. So we started with our phone skills. Then we did coaching on our phone skills. And we coached on when to be excited when you're answering the call, but when to dial back our tone of voice when we hear that the client is having an issue. And most importantly, we taught them to say names. Hello, Mariana, this is Lisa. How are you? Or when we're transferring the call, if I'm transferring it to Eric, my husband, Eric, Mariana's on the call. She wants to talk about marketing. So constantly using names to build rapport. There's something magical and something very primal about our names. And that's a critical piece to establishing rapport on the phone. So we started there. Then we started looking at our appearance of our team. We started looking at, the logoed shirts. We looked at the logo. Were we consistent logo-wise across the board in terms of our team wearing them, our invoices, our website? Were we consistent with that?
I think it looks like it was more like a miracle, a good thing that happened. So then you really evaluated your business from a different perspective, like looking at, okay, what are the gaps and the things that we maybe never pay attention to, right?
100%. We were so focused on getting technical certifications and making sure our team was advancing their skills and latest technology, because everything becomes obsolete in technology within a year. It's amazing, the cycle. But we were not focusing on a really critical component of marketing, and that's our human marketing. What were the humans? You can't have a corporate brand if you don't have strong personal brands behind it. And so I at the time I was part-time stylist. I used to be Shorr Style. I was cleaning closets of professionals, just as something because I'm passionate about clothing and appearances. But then I expanded my business from Shorr Style to Shorr Success because, and I took the method that I used in my IT company and created what's called the brand method. And that's where I expanded it. And I said, if my IT company is struggling, there are other businesses struggling as well. There is no doubt that there are other businesses who need to first have a growth mindset, get some of the head trash out, and say, how am I going to make change? I don't know where to begin. So the brand method is that foundation to set a small business up for communication and client experience success. It's really a critical foundation to growing and building those relationships because it's so expensive to lose a client too. I mean, just to bring on a client, it's several $1,000s more than just the lead.
Yeah, it's the time and the money. And then it's like once you have that lead, try to nurture that lead as much as you can in a good way. And of course, taking care of your clients is key as well. So you found a good gap on marketing, on communication, on systems, on maybe leadership, like maybe managing teams. So that's good. That was as hard probably as it was to find that out, that a client fire you. It was probably a blessing, like to really build a strong business from there on.
You know what? It was transformational. Our business has doubled in size, but more importantly, our profitability has more than it's tripled in size. So we were stagnant, we were stuck. And how do you get out of that? How do you give raises? How do you provide additional training to a team? How do you do that without profitability? And the other, we really took stock in understanding two things that I want everybody listening to really think about. First of all, calculate your lifetime value of your client. What is your client worth? What is one client worth to you? For us, maybe it's an average. We bill monthly, so maybe our average is $3,000 a month times 36 months, which is a typical contract. That's $108,000. That's just if you're billing monthly. Well, what about project work? What about setup fees? What about referrals that could come into your business? And then, usually clients will stay depending on your business model. Maybe they're staying 5 years, maybe they're staying 10 years with you. So now that $108,000 can now look like $300+ thousand, $400,000. So really thinking about and calculate what is the lifetime value of your client. And secondly, it's really critical, especially in a small business environment, to understand that there are no silos, that sales and service departments and billing and every department in marketing all work together.
Oh, absolutely.
We were missing that mark when, that client, it was a missed opportunity. My sales department should have said to my service department that this particular client likes to be known, wants to be, whatever nuances there are to each client, we were not communicating back and forth of what the needs were. Once the sales process was happening, then it was handed over to sales. There needed to be a nonverbal discussion. There needed to be, a personality discussion of what the client wants, needs, and expects. And there's nothing right or wrong to it. It's just having that communication and setting expectations.
Yeah, because the clues probably were coming up within conversations within the teams. It's just, people didn't realize it, but I'm sure the client was already, showing some clues where something was off, right? But
I'm sure they did. I am absolutely sure they did. And, and we just, because we didn't have the conversations we always thought, there's a difference between customer service and client experience. Customer service is the minimum that we do. We answer a call, we, send an invoice, we give friendly service, hopefully, and you try to deliver that service in a timely manner. That's expected.
Mm-hmm.
But when we really think about why a client hires us and that feeling of trust, that's when client experience comes in, when we do all that we can to maintain that trust. And that's through emotional intelligence and thinking
Mm-hmm.
about how do we respond to a client, and empathy, and really trying to connect emotionally to our clients who have a need, have a new project that they're redesigning a room and they're excited to see kitchen designs. Or for me, it's IT, and someone is struggling with IT and they need cybersecurity solutions because they want to preserve and protect their data. There could
Mm-hmm.
be a variety of reasons that somebody reaches out, and we have a choice between customer service and client experience. We were doing customer service. We did
Right.
not at the time understand or value client experience, and boy, do we now.
Yeah.
Business out of
So
it.
that's awesome. So now let's really dig into your brand method, because I really want the small business owner community to learn about what it is. Break it down for us first, and then we'll go from there.
So the brand method is an acronym. What I understood and what I learned from transforming my team is it required a process. And it, just like any other thing, if you're doing a marketing funnel, it requires a process. Just customer service experience, client experience, and working with your team also, and building that rapport requires a process. So this is the proven process that we use still in my IT company, and I coach other business owners. Well, we always start with mindset, right? We have to have the mindset that we are in it to win it, a growth mindset, a willingness to be uncomfortable. So then we kick into the method, which is B, and it's our behavior. And I specialize and focus on what is emotional intelligence and how do you demonstrate it? What does it mean to be an emotionally intelligent leader? And it's someone who really harnesses their own emotions, but really takes stock in determining, how do I need to respond so that I'm making my client, my employee, my prospect feel heard, feel welcomed, feel validated. So we start there, and we identify all kinds of behaviors that we can keep an eye out for and start having conversations about. Then we shift over to R, and R is all about respect. And I don't think we give ourselves personally enough respect to give ourselves time off, to give ourselves moments of self-care. So we start there, and then we go into respecting your company brand that you represent. What does it mean? What are the company core values? What are your personal core values? And then we talk about respecting the prospect or client's brand. So there's three aspects that we really, and there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack there.
It's a lot in
That
there,
could be a
yes.
book unto itself, and just
No
respect.
kidding.
And then we shift over to my origins in this industry and the image and branding industry, and that's appearance. There's two sides to that. Number one is our professional appearance, either in person or virtually, just like this. I thought about what I was going to wear for you today, what was going to represent my brand, what was going to demonstrate authority, collars, and having that lapel and structured clothing always demonstrates more authority. Then the other piece of that is your nonverbal behavior. I used to have a service manager that would roll their eyes, and it set the tone, and it was so uncomfortable to have the conversation, but I did. But boy, it really upset so many of my clients, because we would be on project meetings and you could see those eyes roll. They weren't aware. My service manager wasn't aware. And so nonverbal behavior, whether we're at a networking event or wherever. So then N is all about networking. This is the one that I say to unleash your brand, to go on, get out, and really focus on building your network. And there's three kinds of networking. It's either sales-driven networking, and that's through client business review meetings. It could be lead generation networking at chamber events or industry events or podcasts like this, or it could be networking with our team. So our team has an amazing opportunity, and we often don't give them enough credit to help plant seeds with clients. Sometimes a client has a problem. And the salespeople, when they see a salesperson come and they're like, don't sell me anything anymore. But we have an opportunity with other team members who have a different relationship to possibly plant seeds and plant ideas. If they have a great relationship and they're polished and prepared, boy, can they help close some sales deals that maybe you couldn't close before. And the final is D, and that's dynamic dialogue. And I think this is where we get into the most trouble, because it's not necessary, as Maya Angelou says, people won't remember what you have to say, but they'll remember how they make you feel. And I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm paraphrasing. Let's everybody know that. But my favorite phrase, that's one of my favorite quotes. And it's so true, that tone of voice impacts everything. So we talk about, how do you handle difficult conversations? How do you sound empathetic? How do you sound excited when you're answering a call, but then dial it back when the caller on the other end is upset for whatever reason? How do you deliver a presentation in one respect, but then also have to talk to an employee about an issue in another? So those all require different tones of voice, the wording that we have to say, our nonverbal behavior. So that was a critical component to really understanding. And how do we maintain this in a company? We maintain it by talking about this every day. Every day we have some nugget of discussion about the brand method. And it's critical to maintain that, because there's another quote that I love by Chet Holmes. He wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine: people respect what you inspect. So if you just abdicate it or let it drop, then there's no respect. Your team isn't going to respect it, because they'll forget. If it's not important to the leader, it can't be important to
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
you got to show the repetition and show the message, like communicate the message all the time to show what's important for the business and for the teams and for the clients.
100%. Absolutely. So critical for a leader to be consistent with this message. Absolutely.
Because that could create confusion with, employees about what's really a priority, what's really, what do I need to do? Where do I focus? I mean, so many confusion could cause now having,
just think about
that structure in place.
Oh God, yeah. Think about like the cost of miscommunication, a misunderstanding. Just if we could just take the time to communicate and then demonstrate the importance of something like this consistently. So my brand method takes the guesswork of how do you do it? I'm telling you how to do it. I'm giving you scripts. So I'm giving you stories that you could share, activities. There's a whole variety of content to be successful in really turning around the client experience of your business.
It is a very comprehensive method. So thank you for sharing with the audience, for sure. And then tell us about the book. Something is coming up. Tell us about that.
It's coming up, Your Brand Unleashed. So yes, this book has been a labor of love. It is now it's called Your Brand Unleashed, and it's 9 proven strategies that build trust and maintain lasting client loyalty. And it's all about how do we make your team, first of all, it's leadership focused. So it's written for the leader, the manager, so that they can take this process, the strategies, and implement them with their teams, so that the team doesn't just think of their transaction related people. They understand that they're trusted advisors and they're outcomes related people, that they're not just creating or siloed in a company, but that they understand that they all have to communicate and work together, so that you have that amazing client loyalty, that evergreen experience, so that you build that brand. And so I also include, not only the brand method is in here, but I also include my phone skills training that's incorporated there, because I have a whole process and a whole program on phone skills, what scripts should you have for your company, as well as a component, of course, these days on social media, and how do you, and some etiquette, some business etiquette, some networking etiquette, some social media etiquette. So as a brand expert, we talk a lot about etiquette and what's appropriate and inappropriate for the business community. So, because we all want to think about perception management. And it's, some people are like, oh, it's so shallow. It's so, but people make decisions based on feeling and trust.
Yeah.
They make decisions based on feeling and trust and their own personal values. Are you going to make them more secure? Are you going to make their kitchen more beautiful? Are you going to create marketing funnels and help them build their marketing brand and credibility and bring in those leads? It's a trust factor. And that comes in with some technical skill. I am not negating that piece, but boy, oh boy, more often than not, it's that, how do you make me feel piece that
Well, I love it. This is awesome. And I 100% I'm on board with you that brand is super important, and a lot of businesses miss that piece of it. So now we have a solution for you guys, for the small business owner community, to go and check out the book.
Yes,
And yeah, and then before we wrap up, also tell the listeners where they can find you and your business, so they can also kind of maybe go to your website or any other things that you can share.
absolutely. I have my calendar link right on the homepage of my website. So visit shorrsuccess.com. If you'd like some activities in the back of the book, if you'd like some handouts and some activities, you'll see I created a whole web page. There it is. And the URL for that is yourbrandunleashedbonus.com. So I would love to connect with you. Find me on LinkedIn and all the social channels. Let me know what you think of the book. If you'd like to work together and let me help you create a foundation of client experience success, I'm here for you. That's what I'm here on this earth to do. I would love and the honor, the opportunity to work with each and every one of you. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you.
For all the information, the insights that you provided today. It's been eye-opening probably for some folks in the audience, like, listening to a different way of doing business, and maybe paying attention for certain things that maybe they were not sure, right? So thank you for that. I love the power of the business image and branding. So this is close to my heart as well. I love it. So thank you for sharing all those insights.
Spirits. Sure are.
Yeah.
Sure. And thank you for the opportunity. I very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to our listeners for tuning in today. We will add all the information, resources from Lisa in the show notes, so you can grab those from there. And then please do not forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.